Hi, this is Aaron with Zollotech. Welcome back for part 2 of our comparison of the Pre and the HTC Hero. I wanted to continue by showing you how well different features work in photos and that sort of thing. I don't know what specific questions you might have, but like I said, this one my wife uses. I've been using the Pre for a week and a half. App-wise, we'll go there next. Next, like I said before, the Android phone has roughly 8,000 to 10,000 apps. Obviously, it's not compared to the almost 100,000 apps that the iPhone has. But out of those apps, there are only so many good ones, and there's quite a few interesting ones on the Hero. So let's go ahead and take a look at the marketplace. If we go, let's see where my wife actually put it. There we go. It's the market. Okay, so here's the applications game search. Now I have to say, from what my wife has told me in using this for a week and a half, even though it is a fairly complex phone, she's pretty good at that sort of thing, and she likes it a lot. She said she doesn't want to go away from a smartphone at this point. Now, up here we have some featured apps. This is the App Store. They have improved it on the newer version of Android, but that's not available on the Hero yet, although they're working on it. So you have games and applications, and you can see the marketplace is quite large. If I hit search, you could search for what you're looking for, such as Facebook, that sort of thing. That's the App Store on here. Although there is no preview, I didn't show you that. There is no preview, so say we go to Finance, there's a currency app, it's free, and you install it. But there is there's no actual visual preview for the app. There's a bunch of different information, of what it is and what people think of it, but there is no visualization to show you what it's all about. On the Pre, the App Store, like I said, is fairly small, and we can go to that over here. Now each of these, because they're Sprint phones, they both come with Sprint TV, Sprint navigation. They both have YouTube on them. They both have full web browsers. This does have Flash, like I mentioned before. Text messaging works just as well on either phone, although it does take a little bit longer on the Pre, and it's loading the App Store. It's taking a while. But we can multitask on the Pre, and you can multitask on the Hero as well, but it just works a little bit differently. So for some reason the App Store is taking a while to load, and it is in beta. I don't know if you can see that there. But as far as messages go, we'll go into text messages while we're waiting for that. Because it's the multitasking, we can do that. And let's see if we go into here. Now the problem with this is we can go into different conversations. To get to another one, we can swipe back. But we have to go back and forth in order to get to different conversations. And unfortunately, that's kind of a pain, because it would be nice to have multiple conversations open at once in these little card view. And if you know anything about the Pre, you would know about the cards. We're going to recent apps. And like I said, there's not very many apps. You can scroll down through them, and they do give a description and a visualization. This is Get Me Vino for wine. I do not have it installed, but here we go. Download for free. We can scroll down, read about it, go to the developer home, and we can tap on it to take a look at it. Real similar to the iPhone that way. We can scroll through the pictures. Now the phone does get sluggish at times. The Pre gets sluggish. I'm not sure why. Sometimes it bogs down, especially if you have a lot of cards open, but it does bog down for no reason, it seems, at times. The slider build quality, I did not compare before, but I thought we'd do that too. Build quality is pretty good. It does wobble a little bit, but it does have a moving piece here. This is one solid piece, and this feels very solid, comparable to an iPhone almost. The one thing that doesn't is this button area down here. That's just because they're actual buttons and not just one singular button like the iPhone has. The Pre build quality, like I said, is okay. There's been some complaints of the Oreo effect, of this moving too much. Mine moves a little bit, as you can see, but it is a slider, so I'm not too picky about that. There are some that will be more picky than I am about it. And as you can see, before we started this, the battery was not red. We're at 9% battery right now. On the Hero, the build quality is very solid. The back does come off. They both have removable batteries. One of the greatest things is these phones both use USB. This uses mini USB. This uses micro USB, and it's under this slot right here. And you would use that for syncing, like with iTunes, that sort of thing. The Hero, on the other hand, has an SD card slot in it, and it acts just as a disk drive, and you drag and drop onto it. You can do that with the Pre as well if you prefer that, but it will sync with iTunes, and it's a kind of a battle back and forth if you've been following that. So if we go into the Hero, you do have all the different GPS apps, and my wife did use that the other day and said it worked out well for her. She was able to figure that out well, and it was accurate for her. The Pre has the exact same application on it. Now, as far as the Hero device goes, like I said, apps are pretty good, but it's so customizable compared to other phones. I mean, there's really an unlimited amount of things you can do. Now, here's all the different preferences. That's date and time. If I hit back, I can go back. Let me go back to home and see all these widgets here. These are all different widgets that you have. If I wanted to change this is the weather widget. I simply hold. Now I can move it around, I can remove it, and then I could add something different. We just hit this plus button here. It says the home screen's full. Unfortunately, I can't do that because the screen's full. But there's all sorts of different widgets. You can change the clock. If you don't like this clock, you can pick whatever you want. I'm really impressed with this phone, so much so that I'm considering getting rid of the Pre to go back to this, or go to this rather. Just because the uncertainty of Palm in the future. Unfortunately, the company seems to not be doing so well right now. Their stock has dropped quite a bit, and I do like the phone quite a bit, and WebOS is in its infancy, and compared to iPhone, the first version of iPhone, which I did own, without any apps, it's leaps above that, and in some ways you can drag up and do this. You've probably seen this. In some ways, the Pre is much more superior as far as the operating system goes. In other ways, it's inferior. They both have their plus and minuses. But everything's generally snappy. This shares the same processor for the most part as the iPhone 3GS. This is pretty similar and close, but not exactly the same. There's a lot of promise. If they would fix the browser on this to be as snappy as the Pre and the iPhone, I would be sold on this phone immediately. It shows up as a USB drive when you plug it into your stereo. If you have that capability to read that, you plug it into computer, Windows or Mac, it'll show up as the USB drive device. Works really well. But other than that, let me hear your questions if you have any. Since we have both of these phones, I'd be happy to make another video and answer any of those questions for you. So thanks for watching. Please comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Please, constructive criticism. I really want to know what you think about either phone, and like I said, I'd be happy to answer any of your questions. This is Aaron with Zollotech. See you next time.